Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ron, your host, and I'm welcoming you to my review of Curious George from 2006. Now, Curious George is an origin story, and what this is actually, let's run down the history of Curious George. Curious George was a book series that was written, I believe, in the 40s, 50s, I do believe. And the people who wrote it were Margaret and H.A. Rye, something like that. So Curious George is written by that. So oddly enough, the movie was made, and eventually a TV show was made, and direct-to-video sequels based on this curious monkey. So the movie stars Will Ferrell, Drew Barrymore. I'll run down the whole cast in a bit. So what do I think of Curious George as a movie? Well made, but only a fun movie. And that's what I'm going to say. Well made, but a very fun movie. Let's talk about Curious George, shall we? And I'm going to run the cast down here quick. So in addition to Will Ferrell and Drew Barrymore, we have David Cross, Eugene Levy, Dick Van Dyke, and Joan Plowright. Joan Plowright is also in this. Joan Plowright played the woman. She was in Dennis the Menace. So she's been in a ton of other stuff. Dennis the Menace. She played the maid in the 101 Dalmatians 96 live action movie. So she's done a bunch. Now, this movie actually is produced by Ron Howard. Get this. It was a movie produced by Ron Howard. It was produced by David Kirshner, who also was the same man who made An American Tail for original Land for Time, and oddly enough, also created Chucky. Yeah, no joke. This movie is also written by Ken Kaufman, who wrote Ron Howard's directed Western The Missing. But it was directed by a man named Matthew O'Callaghan. I'm not really sure what all he did. He made a bunch of direct-to-video movies, but I'm getting off topic. Let's actually talk about the plot. Okay, I'll tell it right here. With everyone's favorite inquisitive little monkey, when the man with the yellow hat befriends Curious George in the jungle, they set off on a non-stop, fun-filled journey through the wonders of the big city towards the warmth of true friendship. Featuring the voice talent of Will Ferrell, Drew Barrymore, and all-star cast, Curious George is a family classic that will have kids inside everyone giggling and delighted again and again. This is a movie I never really finished. Okay, so delight again and again, and everyone giggles. I didn't really laugh at this movie, but I found it the animation's great, don't get me wrong. So right at the beginning we get Curious George. Oh, and I also want to mention that the whole entire song, all the songs are sung by Jack Johnson. He had a big hit called Upside Down, which played a lot on the radio. That's how I first discovered this movie was the Jack Johnson song, and it's really good. I hear it all the time at work, and I'm just like, man, it brings me back to the early 2000s. Because I had a friend who had the Jack Johnson Curious George album. It was called The Music of Curious George. But yeah, so I'm getting off topic. So at the beginning of the movie, like I said, we get George. Well, he's not George at first. He's just known as Monkey. We don't know. It's an origin story, but it sort of plays out that. So enter the man in yellow hat. Well, Ted. His name is Ted, who's voiced by Drew Barrymore. He falls in love. He starts to have a relationship. Starts to meet another woman, voiced by Drew Barrymore. I think this is Barrymore's third animated movie. I think this is right after Titan AE. She made her third animated movie, which is, well, Curious George. Her first one was All of the Other Reindeer. That was her first voice work, and then Titan AE, and then Curious George. Again, I'm getting off topic, everyone. So, right again, what makes this so special is between Ted and the relationship with the Drew Barrymore character. So Dick Van Dyke plays the guy who owns the museum, and his son is actually voiced by David Cross. So the two of them are like not really, they don't really like each other. Well, they don't like each other, but they're sort of like, David Cross's character, can't think his name, is sort of misunderstood. So he tells him, go out to the jungle and get this statue. Realizing that once they get to the jungle and they get the statue, guess what? It is very tiny. So it's very tiny for what it tries to be. It's very tiny, and now they just don't really know where this is going to be. So we get each character like that. So now he meets up with George, but he calls him Monkey because they don't know what he names. So the monkey follows him down on the ship and into New York City. Also, they used a lot of Volkswagen. There's a lot of product placements with this, from Dole Bananas to, well, Volkswagen. Volkswagen cars, because in the books, if you remember the books, the cars are like these 1930s, 40s convertibles, but for the 2000s, they try to do Volkswagen. They use Volkswagen trucks and Volkswagen cars. Essentially, that's really what the whole city drives. So, yeah, there's a lot of product placement in this. But I still think the movie is a ton of fun. Like I said again, we get another character in the movie. Eugene Levy voices the guy that Ted befriends. I can't think of his name, but he has this like sort of this like, I don't know how you explain this, sort of like hologram to make the statue larger, even though it's not really large. So while they're driving, George is like doing all kinds of dance moves. He's walking the streets like he's basically like King Kong. So basically, yeah, he's like King Kong though. So now they decide earlier they decided the monkey, they don't know the name. They said, well, Washington. No, that's kind of dumb. Fine, George, okay? So it's like, mister, your monkey's flying. So they're chasing George, but they don't know he's not really Curious George, he's just George. So that's really what the sum of the movie is. I think it works. I think as a movie, I probably would have not seen this in theaters when it came out in 2006. I don't think I remember even seeing this in my local movie theater back in 2006. I rented this at the store, not the store. My mom, for those who don't know, many years ago, I've said this so much on the channel, my mom was a librarian, so she would get a lot of these DVDs, and Curious George was actually one of the movies we rented from the library lot. So my dad decided, let's rent this one. I'm like, okay. So we watched a little bit of it. We saw they played the Land for Time song, Great Day of the Flyers. I forget the name of the song, and I have covered that movie on the channel. But it was such a bad song, we just rewind past it to get to the menu. And this was eons before I had a YouTube channel, before I even opened my YouTube channel. I didn't start opening a YouTube channel until 2008. I'm doing the series in the 2020s. So I kind of wanted to give you the heads up. And that's why I never even saw any of the later Land for Time movies. But again, I'm getting off topic, guys. I think the movie is fun. The animation is spectacular. They're right up there. I think it's one of the best looking movies. For a movie came out in 2006, I think the colors are very bright. It might be a little bit too bright for some people, But as a movie, I think this movie is a ton of fun. I believe this is a great movie, and I had a lot of fun with Curious George. Would I say this is a great movie? Not really, but it's a fun movie with gorgeous animation. The Jack Johnson songs are incredible. Jack Johnson's the entire soundtrack all the songs by Jack Johnson are just incredible. They almost saved the movie from almost would have been just a paint by numbers movie. And as I said, the TV show was coming out, which this movie garnered a TV series, direct-to-video films. I don't know if I'm going to cover any more of the direct-to-video films, but I think as a movie, guys, I think this is really, really well made. It's a lot of fun. I had a good time with Curious George. This is not for everybody, but yeah, before I wrap up the video, I was watching Richard Roeper with Roger Ebert on their show, Ebert and Roeper, and they were split. Roeper was split on this, but when they were doing their thumbs up segment with guest critic Fred Willard, yeah, I think it's Fred Willard. Yeah, Fred Willard. He even said that he recommended Curious George as a thumbs up video, even though he gave it thumbs down. But as a rental, it's getting a thumbs up. I kind of agree with Richard Roeper on that. It's a good rental, and that's what I did. So yeah, I think that's really about it. Oh, Joan Plowright plays, I believe, the opera singer. That there's a scene where George is painting the walls, and she doesn't like that. So yeah, and the end credits are really good. They use the storybook illustrations for the end credits. So that's all I want to say. So, is there any negatives? This is kind of tough because there aren't really too many cons between all the pros. It's not a perfect score. I'm going to tell you right now. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to say too. I try my best to make these videos short, and if my videos are too loud, I do apologize, guys. Just turn the volume down on your speaker or your laptop, wherever you're watching this video. So kind of want to clarify that. So yeah, at the end of the day, sure, Curious George is definitely something I would recommend. This is a well-made, fun movie. I think as a film adaptation based on a book series from the 1940s, 50s, somewhere around that decade. I think it's really good. For an origin story, before we knew who Curious George was, before he got the name, and like I said, I never finished this movie because at the time my dad thought it was just too childish. I don't know. So I never finished this movie until now. So I watched part of it, but then we stopped watching it because either we both got bored or something like that. But watching it now, I can see why. This is a well-made movie. And then, yes, I can recommend Curious George as a well-made, fun movie. So let's go ahead and rate it right now. I'm going to go ahead and give Curious George a 4 out of 5. I just think the animation and the Jack Johnson music saved the film. Sure, Will Ferrell, to me, honestly, I think Will Ferrell and Drew Barrymore are good for what they're given, But the animation and the music by Jack Johnson is why I gave it that score. So, like I said again, guys, give Curious George a watch, guys. It's definitely worth at least watching once. If you were kind of persuaded and weren't sure about checking this movie out, I think for what it does, I think it's a fun, animated children's movie that I think kids will like this. Kids are definitely going to get into. I did see part of the one where Curious George goes to space, and I saw that one PBS, I think, a couple years back. I might have saw like 2013, 14 was the last time I saw that direct-to-video film. I forget what it's called. But I will be checking out more of the Curious George direct-to-video movies just to see where this level monkey goes in it. Or as in Super Mario Bros. Movie, Monkey So yeah, definitely give Curious George a watch. So that's my review of Curious George. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do like the content on the channel, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, ring the bell to get the video notifications so you don't miss a single video on the channel, guys. I'm also on Letterboxd, guys, so you can check all the content I have right there, from reviews to a ton of really good stuff on the channel. So don't miss a single video on the channel. Like I said, you can head to Letterboxd. I rate the movies before I review them. And like I said, guys, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, and ring the bell to get the video notifications. Let me know what you guys think of Curious George in the comments. I definitely want to hear what your guys' thoughts is on this movie. Did you guys like it? Did you not like it? Who knows? Let's. If you want to comment on the video, comment on the video. But like I said, again, I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, I have tons of Universal reviews. In addition to that, we have DreamWorks, Vlog City, collection updates, and just a lot of content in the channel. So like I said, click the bell and ring the bell to get the video notifications so you don't miss a single video. So as I said, guys, don't miss out on Curious George. It's definitely worth checking out if you want to see what this. It's definitely a movie that I think kids are going to like as well, and I can easily recommend this for anybody. Like I said, if you want to watch good animation, good songs, almost great songs by Jack Johnson, then definitely give this one a watch. So that's it, guys, and as always, keep watching those Universal movies.